Hey guys, welcome to China. Today, it's a beautiful day in Xi'an, except it's pretty cold. Our temperatures have been usually like in that 90s, I mean, according to people, locals that are here, because we only got here like yesterday. But according to locals, it was in the 90s last week, so it's pretty interesting that it was, but it's, 64, it's 64 degrees right now. So, in Xi'an, so far we've gone to the Wild Goose Pagoda, and a pagoda is the pagoda that we went to. It was a Buddhist temple where the Buddha actually went. Like, you've seen him. He's like they might have had a section about him in the Carnegie or something. But so he came from China and went all the way to India, and then came back and built the temple in honor of his mother. And so it was interesting because we got to see the monks like chanting there for their gods and things that they supported. You could hear them like chanting, and it was really, really cool. So on the way there, around the pagoda, they had some place called the Dancing Water. And dancing water is really, really interesting because it's like water that dances to music and things, and it's a pretty good amount of land that it covers. It's not a mile though, it's less than that. And it covers a good amount of land, and it's really interesting because they play music like 3 times a day, and each show lasts about half an hour. And they play like traditional music and things like that. And then the water dances to it. It like goes in beat in time with it. So it's like really interesting to see like all of the things that like I have, and it's like, and Xi'an is like around the time, like most of it is from the Tang dynasty, which is actually, it looks like it's Tang, like, but it's actually pronounced Tong. That's how they pronounce it here. And actually, Xi'an was the capital of like all the dynasties for 13 dynasties. It stood for 13 dynasties, which is really cool to see. And it's really cool to be part of that and being like in the city and seeing like how locals act and things like that. What we did get to go to, which was actually really interesting, is we went to go see a 5th grade classroom, a Chinese 5th grade classroom. And it was really interesting because they had done a presentation for us where they had like traditional stringed instruments and like they had like different instruments that they played and different foods that they all brought in, and they wrote in calligraphy for us. And I thought of Miss Jeffrey when we did that, shout out. Okay. So it was a cool experience. And what was really interesting is they have like 52 kids per classroom. And can you imagine that? We have what, like 25 kids, not even, in our class? So it's like at least double that, a little more than double that for each classroom. And the classrooms are about our size. So it's a lot of kids, especially, And they start actually at like 7 in the morning is when they all like get to school and things like that. And then they end around like 5:30, which is, and this is 5th grade. 5th graders go from like 7 in the morning to like 5:30 at night. And 6th graders go from 7 to 6:30, which is like, and then after that most of them go and do like extra classes. They go to like different learning enrichment type stuff where they have like extra classes to take like extra math and extra like learning enrichment type stuff. So the location of Xi'an is like, it's really cool. It's not really like Beijing. It's a city, but it's like a really clean city. Like I'll show you like the view from my hotel room, but like it's interesting because it's not really near any bodies of water, and it's one of the cleanest cities I've seen, and people are polite. Like, you don't have to worry about things like that. It's a really pretty city, and like everything's in unison. They have like plant, tree, plant, tree, plant, and it goes down like the whole entire street. It's really cool, and it's clean because they have lots of people, like lots of employments from different people like who were homeless. This is like a new thing that they started where they have homeless people like helping, and then they clean the sidewalks and they get paid for that, which is really cool to see, and it's heartwarming to see that people who don't have as much as some other people are still being helped and wanted. So it's really interesting. We have not gotten to see the warriors yet. We will be going to go see the terracotta warriors, but we are going to a museum actually tomorrow to go see, just to like, they have a lot of information on the dynasties, about like the Tang dynasty, sorry, it's like weird when you read it, but the Tang dynasty, the Zhou dynasty, the Han dynasty, the Qin dynasty, and the Shang dynasty. They have a lot of information on that. And they also have 2 life-sized terracotta warriors. And we actually went outside because we were going to go get tickets for it. And they're like not very tall. I'd say they're about like 5'10". And I was surprised because remember like that article that we read with Miss Jeffrey where they had like a picture of the terracotta warriors, and then there was like a lady there, and like they showed her with them. She like, we were like, they must be pretty tall, and they're really not that much tall, because, you know, I'm like 5'4", and they're like that much taller than me. That's like not that much. Yesterday though, when we were going to the pagoda, sorry, they have like a path and like a line of like tents and things where you could buy like things like that, and that was like by the dancing water, and like they had lots of like statues that were representing like the Tang dynasty, where they had like people using calligraphy pens, and they were like statues. So they had like a statue of the emperor, and they like they went like the whole time, and it was really cool. What I've heard from a lot of locals is that Xi'an is the main and the best place to get noodles. They have the best noodles and things, is what I've heard. Noodle soups and things like that. But something I never tried before that we don't really have in State College is soup dumplings. Soup dumplings are like, it's like a dumpling, but then the dumpling has like soup inside as well as like the meat or vegetable. So it was really good. I was surprised. I was not really sure I was gonna like it. And it was really interesting because we had a person who was like showing us around, and she showed us like, so my name is Bella, so they wrote it in Chinese, and Bei, like the B-E means, they said something like, it means love, and then L means, the 2 L's in my name mean like purity, and then I think my whole name means love, purity, unity, and hope, I think is what my name means. So it was kind of interesting seeing what my name meant in Chinese. So we had a lot of flights, so from like I said, I was talking about this. Some of you saw I was posting about this on like Instagram and Snapchat. I was like, oh yeah, I almost died because I almost got stuck in a tornado. And I was like, yeah, because we were actually doing, when we were going to our, from Boston to, when we were going from New York to Boston, which was our really short flight, it was like an hour, we got stuck because we got delayed because there was a tornado that they spotted. So we were all just sitting in the airplane, and people were like working and things like that, and I was like sort of freaking out because I was like, yep, I'm gonna die and it's gonna be great. Whoa. So yeah. And then we did end up getting to Beijing, alright. We didn't die on that flight. So we did end up getting delayed, which was kind of painful, but it's okay. And what I've noticed is, as some of you know, my mom is from India. And so I went to visit India 2 years ago, my 4th grade year. And I saw, like, a lot of the things that I see in Xi'an remind me a lot of where we went in India. It's like, the difference is that the city in India was not clean at all. Like, it was just not really clean. But here, like, it's so clean. Like, the cities, you hardly ever see, like, things. But it's so polluted. That's the problem. They have people constantly smoking. It's like, wherever you go, people smoke in restaurants, in hotels. And it's really hard to be around because I have, like, really bad allergies. And so I was, like, dying, like, actually, just because people smoke so much. So it's sad to see all the pollution. And they don't really have things that it's, like, no smoking. And if they do, people disobey the law and do it anyway. So that's just really sad. But yeah, it's a lot like India, and we are going to be going back to Beijing. We were only in Beijing for about a night, so like not even 12 hours, because we had to get up really early to fly to Xi'an. But in like 4 days, I think we're going to Dalian, which is a city that's on the coast of China. They have like really good seafood and things like that. It's like really close to the coast, so it's gonna be cooler. Or no, actually hotter and really rainy there. So it's gonna be interesting. Something that I found was really interesting is they have a lot of American restaurants there. Like they have Starbucks, Burger King, KFC. Like just like right beside our hotel, we have a KFC, and I was like, what? But when we went to Starbucks, because I wanted to go get some really cool pictures to show you guys, I got it's like they have like the same symbol except like, and it says like decaf and things. It's all in English except for when they write it, it's in Chinese. That's like really sloppy Chinese, but that's in. It was interesting just seeing like, and the flavors that they had there was different too. They had like dragon fruit. It was like a dragon fruit peach oolong tea is what I ended up getting, which was really good. And then I noticed that like it was really cool because you guys know what this is, right? What do you think that is? It's pretty close. Yeah, that's, hopefully you guys realize that that's Sprite, the drink that we have. Sorry, there's a glare. But yeah, that's a Sprite can. And it's really cool because I have it in Chinese. And then like all the nutrition facts are in Chinese. So that was kind of interesting. And I was like, whoa, when I saw it. But when we were at the school, the kids presented us with some like gifts and things for coming. And one of the gifts was this. It's not very big. It's about like close to the size of my hand. About. And it, in the statue, it's like bronze, and it has a lot of detail on it, and it's supposed to be a terracotta warrior. So that's really cool to like have. I was kind of surprised because I didn't think they would have like the same fruits that we do, since it's like almost on the other side of the world. But they have like apples and cherries and things. But something I'd never seen before, here I'm gonna bring a bowl over, is lychee. Lychee, like, I've heard about it, and I've had like canned versions of it, but I've never had like the actual fresh fruit that's like, this is what it looks like. And when you eat lychee, there's like usually like a little bud or something here, and then because this is like a harder shell, it kind of reminds me of a walnut. And so you're gonna like, you break the shell sort of off. And it's like, yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot. Kind of a pain though to peel each one. And they have, it's a good flavor. But you have to be careful if you're eating it for the first time. They have like a seed in the middle. So it's kind of like, oh, the seed. And then here's the fruit. So, yeah, lychee's it's pretty interesting. They also have like dragon fruit. Like, we have dragon fruit. Like, if you go to like Wegmans and things like that, we have dragon fruit there and things like that. So, I've never had it like before though, because my mom's always like, oh, I don't think we should try it, just because we don't know like how to make sure if it's ripe or something. But it was really interesting because when we were going